I think Kamala Harris is getting pretty desperate. How else do you explain this announcement that she made on Twitter? It's her black man policy. She says black men deserve a president who cares about making their lives better. I'll go through those points in a minute, but first, the obvious. She's been in power for 3 years, almost 4 years. Is she saying that the U.S. government does not care about black men now or for the past 3 years? I mean, how exactly do you run on new promises and new ideas if you get power when you're not doing those things right now when you have power? It's a trick Trudeau uses when something absolutely falls apart. He sort of positions himself as an outside commentator, like a third-party observer at arm's length, as opposed to the guy who caused the problem. Gee, somebody really ought to do something about this problem. We really all have some learning to do here. People just don't buy it, and it looks awful when Trudeau does it, and it looks awful on Kamala Harris. But, I mean, really, what would you say? Everything's going fine in America right now, inflation, open borders, immigration, foreign wars. Here's what she said.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. Yeah. The work that we have done, for example, capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month for our seniors is something I care deeply about allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Yes. And bring the cost of prescription medication down for seniors, but my intention is to expand that for all Americans. Mm-hmm. The work we have done to invest in American industries, whether it be in terms of manufacturing and creating almost 800,000 new jobs around manufacturing. Those were all a shared priority.
Yikes. I mean, she's not that articulate at the best of times. Did you see this clip?
So when we think about what's at stake in this election, whoa, it's packed with some stuff. It's packed with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulately.
That cackle, it's either Joker-like cackle, which is like terrifying, so fake, which she tries to call showing joy. She tried to rename her cackle. Oh, that's just me being joyful. It's either the cackle or the scolding. She scolds people about everything. Here she is scolding people for saying Merry Christmas.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Here she is scolding people about Christopher Columbus, the greatest explorer.
It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, as we speak truth about our nation's history. Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today.
Scolding, hectoring, berating, or sometimes just weird.
And, you know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Here's a compilation of Kamala Harris debating Mike Pence in the 2016 vice presidential debates. Does the word scolding come to mind?
The president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
no, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but
here.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the fact. Yeah, I'm about to. $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
be important if you said the truth.
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
There's something to that tone. I think every henpecked husband recognizes it. I mean, it was a debate, by the way. You're supposed to have a back and forth. Now, I acknowledge it's probably tough being a woman in politics, but it's also tough being a man in politics, tough in different ways. By the way, Margaret Thatcher was very popular with male voters. The success of many women in politics suggests that in general, Americans and Canadians are not sexist. They care about substance. Kamala Harris comes across as empty and inauthentic. She changes her accent depending on who she's talking to.
Hello to all my divine nine brothers and sisters. And my soror.
As though it is a sign of weakness to have empathy.
In the Senate, well, it was late into the night. And in the Senate, you walk onto the Senate floor, and there are these big wooden ornate doors. Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that? You know, the one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work.
Have empathy, man. For the suffering of other people.
I love you back.
You know, Trump says she's not black, she's East Indian. Of course, she's half black and half Indian. But his point is that she claims to be someone new, depending on who she's talking to at that moment. It's the fakeness. She's been a firearms banner her whole life, for example. And now she says she's a proud Glock owner.
You recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your
That
house...
was not the first time I've
They would get
talked
shot.
about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
So what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement. And so there you go.
Have you ever fired it?
Yes. Of course I have. At a shooting range. Yes, of course I have.
Yeah, I mean, then again, her running mate doesn't really know anything about guns either, does he?
It's quite right. Never fits quite right. Just not quite right. How do you give it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
Let's not get into Tim Walz right now. In some ways, he's even worse. The cackle and the fakeness and the scolding. Look, personality matters. A lot of people don't like Trump's personality, but holy moly, I don't think there's any men of any race that find Kamala Harris appealing, especially given how empty she is on policy when all she has is personality. She's not warm. She's not trustworthy. She's not persuasive. She has a real gender gap, not just amongst men, but even amongst black men. They won't support her. Personally, I think it's the nagging, scolding tone plus the cackle.